welcome to a very special episode of Accio Politics, where producer Helene Karp and Adri Wilson spend their nights screaming into the darkest of voids in our darkest of timelines on December 19th, the year of our Lord, 2019. Hello, Helene.
Hello.
I kind of want to be like NPR and be like, this episode was recorded on December 19th, 2019.
Believe me, this is all real-time reactions.
At 8:08 p.m.
We are coming to you live.
A lot may change by the time you listen to this.
But probably not our feelings.
But probably not our feelings, you know? We're just so bombarded by so much shit all the time. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, today's been a day. It's been quite a day. And in case you're listening to this on not this day, we can remind you of the things that have happened.
I mean, no one will be listening to this on this day because I'm pretty sure I might not be able to edit in record time and submit before midnight.
This is true. So in an ideal situation, think back to yesterday or maybe the day before.
Or maybe a week from before. I don't know.
So today is the day that J.K. Rowling outed herself as a transphobe.
I mean, but let's not get to that yet.
Yes, but I'm just trying to give context as to what today is.
Oh, the significance of today?
Yes.
On December 19th, 2019, she outed herself as a TERF.
Damn. Yep.
I mean,
yep.
We had our suspicions. By the way, TERF is an acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, which is like how some quote-unquote people, let me start. Which is how some quote-unquote feminists like to exclude trans women from the feminist movement, which is very unfeminist of them.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm ashamed that I did not know what that meant until today. So I learned that today.
Which means that you probably lived a very good life if you didn't know about TERFs.
I never I never encountered anybody who held these types of beliefs before. And I'm kind of glad I hadn't, because they suck. They ain't good.
You can say that again. God.
But that's not even the biggest thing that's happened this week, because yesterday, he who must not be named was impeached.
Or as I will call him from now on, Lockhart. But we'll get to that later too.
Yes. I watch The View every day, and Whoopi never says his name, especially in conjunction with the term president. And I don't do that, but I feel like I need to do that in this episode.
But it's topical too, right?
Yeah, he who must not be named, honestly. She does call him that on The View too, which just makes me giggle every time.
I always kind of delightfully surprised that you watch The View, even though I've known this. Because knowing you, I don't equate that with someone who watches The View because of demographic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you talk about watching The View, I'm just delightfully surprised every time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's one of my life's missions to get more people to watch it, especially people my age, because God, is it relevant and so progressive. Please watch it.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, delightful surprises every time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't...
I don't know how it slips my mind, Helene. It just does.
Well, it's not... I mean, you don't expect a 26-year-old girl to be, spending her afternoons watching The View. I would agree that that's kind of weird, but I admit it. I'm weird. It's fine.
I'm sorry. You're not weird. You're delightful.
Well,
I never said weird.
I said weird, but thank you.
We are not, in this podcast, we do not talk bad about ourselves. Okay?
I will say I don't think being weird is necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. As long as you don't mean it in a derogatory way.
No, of course not.
All right. But first, before we get into our, other topics for today, we are the most lighthearted of topics, which gives us an indication of where this is going. The Democratic nominees for president, Sorting Hat Edition.
Yeah, we've been wanting to do this for a while.
I know, I'm so excited. And someone, Helene, tried to get me to pare down the list of candidates.
Okay, but like, so many of these people are not necessary.
Truer words have not been spoken, but you know what? Like, if we had starting the Sorting Hat Edition at the beginning of the nominee process, like, it would be twice as long.
Well, let's get into it because I don't know who half these people are.
Which is like so on brand, Helene. Like, you're like, name recognition? Don't know her.
Who is she?
Who is she? Never met her. All right. First off, we have Michael Bennett, and I'm reading this off Politico's presidential, Democratic nominee voter guide. So this is this Politico is going to be our source for everything. And so that's where things are.
And I repeat, who is she?
Michael Bennett, and as Helene calls him, who is she? Politico tells us this about Michael Bennett. I'm going to do the blurbs for everyone. So Helene, buckle up.
Oh, I did not know
this. A quiet moderate who has tended to operate in the background of the Senate until he let loose on Ted Cruz with a viral rant during the government shutdown. He was the superintendent of the Denver public schools before he was appointed to the Senate.
You just read that just like so dramatically.
Is there any other way to read things, Helene? I ask you.
No, definitely not. I like very vaguely remember this like viral rant that he let loose on Ted Cruz during the government shutdown. So I guess like I somewhat remember who he is. But like I will say I've been following this very, very closely, all the nominees, and I didn't know who I didn't recognize him at all when you said his name. So I think that's saying something.
Okay, but let's talk a little bit about his views before we sort him, because I feel like you've come around on sorting him since you remember this viral moment. He wants to abolish the death penalty. He wants to mandate paper ballots for election security. He thinks that construction funding and rent subsidies would help affordable housing. In income inequality, he wants to invest in workers and rural America. He wants to raise the minimum wage to $12 an hour, and he supports several months of broad paid leave. He wants to put few limits on abortion, if any.
And he supports a ban on assault weapons.
He also opposes Medicare for all.
I agree with a lot of this. Citizenship for Dreamers.
He wants to legalize marijuana.
I literally just got to that. I was like, oh.
Well, Mr. Bennett.
And scrapping post-pot convictions. Not bad. Okay. Mr. Bennett, okay. I see you.
All right. Michael Bennett, what do we think?
I mean, I haven't found anything super, like, controversial yet. So, he seems like a solid dude, you know?
Okay.
From what I can tell. Maybe a Gryffindor? Although, he really isn't loud enough to be a Gryffindor. So maybe, because like, who knows him? Who knows who he is? No one knows him. So maybe he's like
he didn't let loose. So maybe his Gryffindor is like a secondary house.
Okay, so maybe he's a background Hufflepuff? No, maybe not. I don't know. He could be a background Gryffindor though. Like he could be like a sleeper Gryffindor. Like he is there, but then there's like one thing that sets him off, and then he goes at it.
Like a lazy Gryffindor is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Like a background Gryffindor. Just like a Seamus.
Oh, yeah, like Seamus, but like Seamus that doesn't set things on fire, hopefully.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, unless it's marijuana because he's in favor of it. Boom. I made a joke. And I am also an old. Okay, let's move on.
I love when you refer to yourself as an old. It's like my favorite thing.
I'm here to entertain you, youngins.
Okay,
Hello,
so
fellow kids.
do you agree with me that he's a Gryffindor, or do you think something else? What do you think?
Well, the whole, I think what cinched it for me as being a Gryffindor is like that rant. Because like Gryffindors are a lot of things, right? They're loud, they're obnoxious, but we do love a rant above anything else. And we love to like put people in their place. So I would say Gryffindor. As a fellow Gryffindor who is obnoxious and loud, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's going to be hard for me because most of the time when I see someone who I, like, agree with or see a little bit of myself in, I'm always like, oh, definitely a Hufflepuff. But it's not always the case. So, like, I guess I'm just going to say I could see him as a Hufflepuff because, you know, I agree with a lot of his stances from according to this list. But that just because I agree with him doesn't make him a Hufflepuff. So,
I mean, true. Sometimes I'm like, the more annoyed I am at someone, I'm like, oh, definitely a Gryffindor. Definitely a Gryffindor. Because
because we want people who like we think are like us to be in our house because that's like what makes the most sense to us.
but usually what ends up happening, and not like people I meet IRL as much, but like the people I'm annoyed at, you know, like their views or whatever, or how they present to the world, or how obnoxious they are, or how loud they are, end up also being Gryffindors. And I'm like, damn it. It's because the energy is too much the same.
Gryffindor energy. It's like an anomaly.
Girl, it's a lot. I'm in a double Gryffindor marriage. It's a lot.
Oh, I didn't know that Seth was a Gryffindor too.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but he had a crisis when he retook the Sorting Hat quiz.
What was he originally?
Well, in his head, he was a Ravenclaw.
But he had never taken it before? It wasn't like one of those things where he took it earlier, got something,
I think he took like a BuzzFeed quiz, you know?
Gotcha, yep.
And then he took the Pottermore, and it showed him as a Gryffindor, and he had an entire meltdown about it. And I was like, this makes sense.
I guess I sort of like went through something like that because like before Pottermore even came out, before we even had a Pottermore Sorting Hat quiz, I was convinced I was a Ravenclaw because like I was, you know, I got straight A's in school and I, you know, was in the talented and gifted programs, like the honors programs and stuff like that. I didn't thoroughly enjoy being in those things, and like it wasn't like what I loved doing. But I was like, oh, I'm smart, so I must be Ravenclaw. And then Pottermore came out, and I took the quiz, and I got Hufflepuff, and I was like, what? And then I accepted it.
Yeah, so you know, sometimes you learn things about your marriage through Pottermore that you didn't know.
That's what Pottermore is here for, right?
Yeah,
to teach us about our marriages, even if we aren't married.
Or, you know, our friendships, too.
Yes. Our friend marriages.
Our friend marriages. Those are the best ones, actually. We're one down, 10,000 to go.
Honestly.
It feels like it. The next person is one who will be taking the debate stage tonight. One Mr. Joe Biden.
Uncle Joe!
Uncle Joe. Oh my God, I can't with you.
Uncle Joe! Oh man, I have like a very back and forth opinion about, I mean, like I love Uncle Joe, but I have like a back and forth opinion about whether or not I think he should be the nominee.
Ooh, sidebar. May not make it onto the podcast, but I did hear Uncle Joe is very inappropriate with women.
I don't think he does it intentionally. I think that he is just a very touchy-feely person, and some women are thrown off by it. And
read the bio, please.
Okay, I just love reading things. Okay.
Are you sure you're not a Ravenclaw? I'm just kidding.
Joe Biden. His resume is virtually unmatched, and the Obama years introduced him to a new generation. But is he ready to fight through recriminations over his role in passing policies the party base now loathes? Loathes? Did I say loathes? I know. I didn't. I literally said it, and then I was like, "Why did I say that with such confidence? That's not right."
like
the party
loaves of bread.
Loathes. No, the party's base. I read the rest of that so well, and then you just get to the end, and I make up a new word. Anyway, the party base now loathes. There we go.
There you go. I'm going to keep it all in. You know that, right?
Of course you are. There's no way to edit that out anyway. So yeah, a lot of people are very, I can't think of words. A lot of people are already very, up to date and knowledgeable on Joe Biden. We all know him.
Let's look at some high points, right?
Yes. He was our vice president for 8 years. So, if you don't know much about him, you weren't paying much attention the last 8 years. But actually, that was almost 4 years ago. Anyway, so let's see. He wants to abolish the death penalty. Let's see. What are some big ones? He wants to eliminate private prisons.
He also wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that Michael Bennet only said 12 because I know that that's a little bit lower than the standard of what most candidates are advocating for. But he wants to study reparations. I'm not really sure what that means by just study them. But whatever.
A scholar.
Yeah, he thinks that 2 years of college should be free instead of all 4, I guess. Let's see, what are other big ones? He's in favor of universal background checks for assault or for guns, for firearms. Some limits on abortion. I don't know what that means. Okay, basically, what we're kind of uncovering, and I already knew, but we're uncovering that he is probably one of the most moderate of all of the candidates. He does his views very much lean more to the right than to the left, in general, which is what makes him so electable. Honestly, if we're gonna win over Trump voters. He wants to decriminalize marijuana. Doesn't say he wants to legalize it, though.
Oh, the abortion is that he wants to regulate the terms when women can access abortion, or pregnant people could access abortion, and he bans certain late-term abortion procedures, which usually are made because of the mom's health, a medical procedure that terminates a pregnancy later than 3 months after conception is usually a procedure that is done because the pregnant person is about to die.
He's against those?
Yes.
Late-term procedures?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. I think a lot of Joe's, a lot of people's love for Joe has to do with nostalgia, and
it has to do with his, being the VP for Obama.
Yeah,
honestly.
A lot of it is nostalgia. A lot of it is love for Obama and wanting a piece of Obama back. I do think that if we're gonna get a moderate in office, I think he'd be a good choice.
I think we could do better, but okay.
I do think we could. Overall, there are other candidates that I agree with much more. But
okay, that being said,
yes,
sorting hat. What do you think?
I think Ravenclaw.
I think he's a Gryffindor because he likes to run his mouth, but
I don't know. I think that he looks at things and he kind of weighs all of the options, and he's very thoughtful and he doesn't do things just out of like, you know, the good of himself, or he like wants to. I think that he's very, very like deliberate and thoughtful on like what he decides to support. I mean, he could also potentially be a Slytherin because he's doing it out of ambition of like, it's not power. Like, I don't think he's looking for power. I think I don't know. It's hard. I have all these feelings, and it's really hard for me to like articulate them right now for some reason.
Do you think? Okay. So if it's ambition, do you think he's doing it out of like he wants to be remembered not just as a vice president?
No, I think that he really is. He really is looking out for the good of the country, and he's doing what he thinks is going to be the most impactful and like have the best outcome. But I think he's doing it because he values, I don't know, right versus wrong. I don't know. I feel like he's very like moral. And I don't, for some reason, I just like, I'm thinking like Ravenclaw, you know, like kind of like, we need to do the right thing because it's the right thing. And I don't care if I upset people because of my beliefs.
I feel like I associate that more with like a Gryffindor trait, because Ravenclaw is more about the thoughtfulness of it and like
I would say that Gryffindor's
the intellect.
I would say Gryffindor's more emotional and more like they like, it's because of like how they're feeling that motivates them, not because of what is right and what's wrong.
I feel typecast and attacked.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I think it's good. I think that
I was just leaning into your classification of a Gryffindor.
I don't know, like take Harry for example. Like he's very, very, very run by emotion. Everything he does is like he's all of his actions are like reactions to something emotional.
And you don't think like challenging someone to do push-ups in the middle of like town hall is not emotional?
I think that he has his Gryffindor moments.
I mean,
right?
Damn. Okay, so Gryffindor moments, but a Ravenclaw overall question mark?
Yeah, I think Ravenclaw, but that's me. I mean, you can disagree.
No, I'm not disagreeing per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in my feelings. Okay. Anyway, our next candidate, another white dude in a series of a lot of white dudes, Michael Bloomberg,
and a rich white dude at that. So.
I mean, come on. Anyway, and this is the bio. Please hold for dramatic music. After toying for years with running for president, Bloomberg finally took the plunge with an 11th hour bid, pitching himself as a moderate alternative to Joe Biden. The three-term former New York City mayor and one-time Republican, who boasts a personal fortune worth more than $50 billion, intends to skip the early voting states in favor of a national campaign.
One-time Republican?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about this guy either. Like, I know that he used to be mayor of New York City. I know that he is rich. I know that he was like he supported stop and frisk, and was really, really hurtful towards a lot of people of color during his time as mayor. And then like recently just gave a lame apology to try and make up for all of that. I don't think he's legit. Like, I don't think he's going to make it anywhere. I think that he thinks that he's the shit, and he's not. He's not.
Well, his views are much less populated than any other candidates that we've seen so far. He wants to reform or reduce cash bail reform. He wants to support a ban on assault weapons. He wants universal background checks and opposes Medicare for all, and wants to let the states decide about legalizing marijuana, which is basically what we have right now. And he wants to expand EITC tax credits. That's it.
Yeah, no idea what that means, but I also don't.
Well,
I also don't really care.
well, we also have something called the Google.com. I'm not sure if you know this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like don't really have an investment into figuring out.
All right, so EITC is the Earned Income Tax Credit or Earned Income Credit, a refundable tax credit for low to moderate income working individuals and couples, particularly those with children. There you go.
Okay, so he wants to expand that. I mean, that's not bad.
That's the only thing that he has like a pretty decent view on, because everything else is very lukewarm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's they're all kind of just very like like okay, like yes, he opposes Medicare for all, not super like radical. A lot of people do. I mean, he's in favor of universal background checks, which I feel like as a decent human being, like most people should be. Even a ton of Republicans are also in favor of universal background checks. So,
and by this, I'm saying those people are also not decent people. So,
yeah,
just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, all around, he's eh. I think the fact that he is super, super rich and wants to use his money and power that he already has to gain even more money and power makes him a Slytherin. I mean, I
was gonna say Slytherin.
Yeah, I mean,
snake.
And like this is totally like everybody who's in Slytherin. I see you, I love you, and adore you. Like Slytherin is not the evil house. I understand that. But there are many so I'm not saying I hate him, so he should be in Slytherin. I'm not even saying I hate him, but.
Or, I mean, if you want to, like, play that also, it could be like, he is a show-offy Gryffindor who doesn't think things through and is like, I'm the candidate, I have no views.
Yeah. I feel like he's just trying to scrape by in, like, the views department and, like, the stances department, and try and be recognized for things other than that, like his money and his power and his past record and stuff like that.
He's basically as well prepared as Ron Weasley for any of his exams.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes him a Gryffindor.
I still say Slytherin. Not because I don't like him, but...
I mean, I was trying to throw you a bone there with the Ron Weasley.
Yeah, I know.
Helene, I'm trying to keep our friendship alive.
I also don't like Ron Weasley, so...
I know. So I was like trying to let you equate someone you don't like with someone else you don't like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't jump on that. Would have been a good opportunity.
Throwing you all the bones tonight, and no.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Cory Booker. Continue.
I'm just like so preoccupied with what we're going to talk about later that I just...
This is the fun part.
I know. Okay.
Focus.
Okay. All right, Cory Booker, a telegenic orator who rose to fame as the mayor who answered the phone to shovel your snow. Okay. He has wielded his star in the Senate by placing himself at the center of it all, including his opposition to Jeff Sessions' cabinet confirmation and his I am Spartacus moment during the pushback to Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, yeah, he's had some standout moments. I think that he is a sweet talker. I think he knows how to do the talks, make the words.
Hence, as he was referred as an orator.
Yes. Some of his standout views, he looks to abolish the death penalty. Let's see. He wants to eliminate private prisons, mandate paper ballots, raise taxes on the wealthy, create new social programs, raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, study reparations. Students should...
All these scholars on reparations, my God.
I know, honestly. He thinks that students shouldn't have to take on debt. He wants to expand or fix existing debt relief programs and give teachers tax credits. All good things. He thinks the Electoral College should be eliminated. Duh. Restoring voting rights after prison. I like that. Universal free meals in schools. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Support a mandatory buyback program under assault weapons. That's very interesting to me. I'm not sure what in favor of a gun licensing program means. I don't know if I've ever heard that before. Requiring gun buyers to be licensed increases accountability for both sellers and buyers. Okay. He has few limits, if any, on abortion. Let's see, Medicare for all, but would accept Medicare for some. Citizenship for dreamers and executive actions to help legalize them in the meantime. Not bad. And he wants to legalize marijuana and scrap past pot convictions. Okay. I mean, anything that stood out to you that I didn't say?
Well, fun fact, he also wants to address algorithmic bias in social media.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I took one of the I don't know if you've seen any of these. There's like these quizzes online that you can take that
Oh yeah,
that like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, they like line up your beliefs with how many which candidates you are most aligned with. And I took it, and he was my number one. I got that almost all of my beliefs, or most of my beliefs, were aligned with Cory Booker's, which kind of surprised me because I mean I didn't know that I shared so much in common with him. I knew he was like decent, and that I'd seen him talk, and I'd liked him, and I'd liked what I'd heard and what he said. But it's good to know that he's probably the one that is the closest to my belief system. So,
well, I've already made a decision on his house. If you have,
what are you thinking? We might be thinking the same thing.
Slytherin.
Oh no! Why? That's not what I was thinking. Explain yourself.
That sounded like an explain yourself my mother would have given me. Explain yourself, young lady. All right. 1, he is an accomplished orator, and he has a very good way of trying to persuade people to see his point of view. 2, he's a very ambitious person, and he knows what his public persona needs to be in order to make that happen. That's it. 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. You've mostly convinced me.
3, he has a relationship with Rosario Dawson, which I'm pretty sure has more to do with his campaign than anything else.
Like a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Oh, dang. Man.
It happened when he announced his candidacy.
He is dating up.
Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to date Mindy Kaling once.
That would also be dating up.
I know. What I'm trying to say is he's into the celebrities. And I think it's because of notoriety.
Maybe. I mean, I guess that would be a more Slytherin thing to align yourself with people who will, get you where you want to be.
Listen, baby, whatever it takes. You do you, Cory.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not even going to say what I thought because I think that you're right.
No, now tell me, what did you think? Was it Hufflepuff?
Yeah.
Aww. Is it because your values aligned?
Yeah, because I'm textbook Hufflepuff, and I value these things for very Hufflepuff reasons, and if he values them as well, I just assumed he might also be a Hufflepuff.
I still think Slytherin. Maybe his secondary is Hufflepuff. You don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I could see that.
Like a fluffy snake,
A fluffy snake. Let's talk about the judge.
The what?
Buttigieg.
Oh, okay. I was like, the who? Like, is this what the kids are calling him these days?
No, that's just what I'm calling it.
Okay, girl, I don't know things about young kids. I don't know. You are my one connection to the mid-20s. You and Juliana, you're my one connection to people in their 20s.
So 2 connection.
Well, yes. Okay.
Let's talk about the judge.
Okay. Anyhow, Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He's been positioned as a potential leader amongst the next generation of Democrats, openly gay, millennial, and a veteran of the war in Afghanistan.
That is like the shortest bio, and I feel like he has the most to be said about him.
Like what?
Like there's so many, like, they just like summarized it so shortly in one tiny half of a sentence. Openly gay, millennial, and a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. Like, that's a lot. Like, that's, and he's a mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Like, he, like, talk about him. Like, they just have nothing to say about him. It's not even.
Well, he also went to Harvard. He also knows like 7 languages, right?
Yeah.
And his like husband is a Twitter sensation, and so is his dog. So like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's not even 2 full sentences. It's just one sentence that they have about him.
Well, the judge, as you call him, wants to abolish capital punishment. Now I want to say your thing for him all the time. Okay,
the judge.
He wants to the judge, and cash bail reform. He wants to eliminate private prisons and invest in workers in rural America. He wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Support broad paid leave for family and medical leave plans for up to 12 weeks. He wants to also become a scholar of reparations, like everyone here. He is against for-profit charter schools, doesn't want students to take on debt. He wants to cancel some student debt. Please mine, Pete, please mine. He wants to boost teacher pay. No surprise, his husband is a teacher. And let's see. Few limits on abortion, if any. Citizenship for dreamers, and he wants to legalize pot. Well.
I'm learning that a lot of these people sound the same. I mean, that's what's so hard about the Democratic primaries, or any primaries, is that they all are very similar, and you have to find like the smallest things that differentiate them in order to really decide who you want to be your president, you know?
Oh, also opposes Medicare for all.
Okay. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Bernie and Warren yet, so we'll get to that. They're like the only ones I think that actually support Medicare for all.
All right. So the judge, what are we thinking? I know what Pottermore said he was.
Oh, really? Did he take the quiz? What did it say?
Yes. He's one of yours.
He's a Hufflepuff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Nice. I mean, I know that he has some issues with connecting with the Black community, the African American community, and he's had a lot of flubs in that area where he's really just kind of like fucked it up. And in both just like during his time as mayor of South Bend, and then also during his campaign, it's not likely that he'll get a large Black vote, which doesn't bode well for him, because you really do, African American votes really are important, because they turn out high for elections. So I don't know. I think that he could be a Hufflepuff, but I have some what's the word? Reservations about him.
It's just, I feel like, I mean, all these white men, with the exception of Cory Booker, who is a man of color,
mm-hmm.
I'm just like, this is like oatmeal.
At least Buttigieg has a bit more flavor in the fact that he is openly gay. And which is like, we haven't had an openly gay president before. And
so like, he's like the difference between like, oh, this oatmeal has like regular vanilla, and he's like Madagascar vanilla, you know, like.
I mean, it would be pretty iconic to have the first gay president. But I mean, and he was also a war veteran, and the fact that he is religious as well. It's kind of like a very interesting and like unique combination.
All right, I am not saying, I just wanted to be clear that I am against Buttigieg. I'm just saying maybe we don't need another white man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like, I definitely would prefer a woman in general, but we're working with what we got right now.
Okay, we haven't gone to the women yet. I get it. Let's move it on. I think we need to speed it along a little bit more.
Yeah. I knew talking about all of them was going to take a long time.
Okay, I'm sorry, but now it's too late. We're bought in. We've got this. We're moving on.
This is Julian Castro. He's the former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Long tipped as the next big thing in Democratic politics, the former mayor rode that excitement to a convention keynote address, the cabinet, and then VP speculation in 2016. Now he's wasted little time in assembling a campaign. I gotta say, I didn't know he did all that stuff.
Wow. Were you going to say he's a muggle? Is that what you were going to say?
No. I mean, at least I've heard of him. I hadn't heard of Michael Bennett, but at least I'd heard of Julian Castro. But still, let's see. Highlights as far as views.
Minimum wage, paid leave, supports charter schools.
Yep. Let's see. Where does he stand on
abortion fee limits? Citizenship for dreamers.
Medicare for all, but would accept Medicare for some.
Legalize marijuana. That's it. That's all we care about.
Yeah, I mean it's all a lot of the same.
All right, Mr. Julian Castro. I think that he is a Ravenclaw.
I can see that.
I'm going with my gut here. I'm not even going to explain myself. Next.
Okay. Yep. It's just like a gut feeling for me too. I can't explain it.
Okay. He just looks like one. It is what it is.
He has that Ravenclaw look.
He's representing all those Ravenclaws very well. Okay. John Delaney, U.S. Representative, Maryland. He's already spent millions of dollars in Iowa and visited every one of its 99 counties more than 2 years before the first in the nation caucuses. But can he stand out once the rest of the field joins him? Dun, dun, dun.
They started off with he's already spent millions of dollars in Iowa. Okay.
Okay, so raising minimum wage to $15 an hour. Broad paid family and medical leave. Unclear on the specifics of abortion. That's great.
Oh, great.
Opposes Medicare for all. He wants to let the states decide about marijuana, and that's it. That's all. Yeah, that's it. Do you see anything else you want to highlight to help us make this decision?
I mean, he's rich, right? Like he has a lot of money. Is that am I correct in remembering this?
Let me double check for you.
I mean, it says he already spent millions in Iowa, but so I'm guessing he's rich because his campaign. There's no way his campaign is garnering that much financial support.
He has a really odd smile.
Because I was going to say there under campaign finance, he supports unlimited. He says unlimited spending should not be allowed in politics, which if he is, spending a lot of money on his own money on his campaign, it's kind of questionable if that's what he thinks.
I think he just had a lot of campaign finance,
just like supporters and stuff. So he's basically saying I'm profiting off of this, but I'm going to end it if I get elected, which doesn't make any sense.
I mean, he's just playing the game, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing stands out. He's just another dude that I don't know much about. If I saw him on the street, I would be like, "Hi, bald guy with a weird smile. Stop staring at me."
You know who's gonna play him in the biopic is Jim Carrey.
Oh, I could see that by this picture that they have of him. I could see that.
I mean, that's all I have to say about him. Next. Not even gonna sort him because I have no idea.
You're jumping on my train now.
Well, I mean, I just, I keep looking at that smile, and listeners, I want you to go to a picture of John Delaney where he is smiling, and it is so unnerving, I can't even sort him.
Yep, he is unsortable. He's a muggle. Let's just say that. Muggle.
All Next. Right, muggle. Tulsi Gabbard. It's your turn, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, right. Let me, yeah. All right, Tulsi Gabbard, the one and only Democrat to abstain on impeachment votes today or yesterday. U.S. Representative of Hawaii. She flouted the DNC in 2016 and backed up Sanders. Surprising. Her approach to foreign policy, including a visit with the Syrian President Bashar Assad, put her outside many in the Democratic mainstream. Basically, she's the girl that, or the woman that Hillary Clinton thinks is a Russian puppet.
Well, fun fact.
Yeah. She's also one of the more moderate candidates from what I remember. She did not qualify for tonight's debate. Different. Oh, she does think that college should be free.
Legalize marijuana and Medicare for all.
She doesn't think that the Electoral College should be eliminated. That's kind of different.
That's controversial.
Mm-hmm. She does believe in Medicare for all. Yeah, that's strange. Well, but would accept Medicare for some. I feel like that's such a I don't want to say one or the other. I mean, a lot of the candidates have said that, and I'm like, I feel like you should either be for it or not for it. Pick a side.
It's like, well, I like the color white, but we'll settle for red. I don't know.
Honestly. I say I don't even know.
I say Slytherin.
Okay. Yep. Slytherin. Check. Next.
And it's just a gut instinct. Moving on. Amy Klobuchar, U.S. Senator, Minnesota.
Ooh, Minnesota. Sorry.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I stopped instead of starting to
proud
speak.
Minnesotan resident right here, even though the winters are awful. Anyway.
Oh, the Midwest. Anyway. She's a consistent big winner in a state that has gotten more competitive and just so happens to border Iowa. She argues Democrats can win back Midwestern voters if they've forgotten in past elections. That's it? Cool. Anyway, interesting thoughts. Let's see. Minimum wage, $15 an hour, paid leave. She also wants to be a scholar of reparations, supports charter schools, 2 years of college free, supports a ban on assault weapons, some limits on abortion, opposes Medicare for all.
Oh, she supports paying farmers to adopt climate-friendly practices.
Okay, wants to legalize marijuana. That's it. That's all.
No, I mean, she's gotten a lot of backlash for being kind of a too harsh of a leader. She's there's been news stories that she's a mean boss, basically. She's not nice to all of her employees.
Like a Miranda Priestley?
Yeah, but honestly, I think that if she were a dude, she wouldn't be getting any of this backlash. She wouldn't be getting any of this crap. I think that she's a strong woman who knows her worth and her value, and I think she's very electable. She's kind of more towards the moderate side. She's a little bit closer to Joe Biden in her political views, but she is also going to get shit done in the office. And so if I were to support a female candidate, I think that she's probably up there for me.
Okay. So she's definitely not a Hufflepuff, though.
No, not a Hufflepuff. I'd say maybe Gryffindor.
How dare you?
What? You don't like her?
I don't like people who are mean to their employees.
I think that
Men or women.
I don't I think that those things are highly very blown out of proportion. I think that that's the most bad press she's gotten, and I think it's it's not even I don't know. I think that it's just not. It's I can't even think of words right now. I think that she's just a normal employer. Not everyone's gonna like their boss,
I mean, amen. But Correct. But I don't know. I think maybe because of things I have personally gone through with like terrible bosses where people that said, "Oh no, you're just, over, you're just too sensitive or whatever." And here I am in therapy like crying about it. Then like whenever someone talks about like really bad working conditions, I'm like, "I see you. I feel you. This is unacceptable. My mental health suffered, you know?"
Yeah. So what do you think then? If you don't like Gryffindor,
I mean, she's definitely a Gryffindor, but like I'm hurt. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh gosh, such a Gryffindor thing of you to do, to like argue with something that you already agree with.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes. No, I do think that she's a Gryffindor. Okay, next.
It's your turn.
It is. Oh god, I gotta talk about this dude I've never heard of in my life. Deval Patrick. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Like,
I think it's more like Duval, but okay, go ahead.
what did I say? Didn't I say that? Oh, whatever. I don't care.
It's fine.
I honestly don't care.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
He's the.
We probably both said the same thing, but I just wanted to like be a dick about it.
He's the former governor of Massachusetts. Only the second black governor ever elected in the United States. Patrick jumped into the 2020 race late and could become the second black president. That's kind of pushing it. I've never heard of this guy before. He's casting himself as a moderate who can still inspire after 2 terms in statewide office and a business career that included high-ranking roles at Texaco, Coca-Cola, and Bain Capital.
All right, he's a Slytherin. Next.
Yeah, like we need another businessman as president, honestly. Okay.
But also high-ranking roles at all these corporations. My man.
Man, and you get to talk about... I have like the crappy ones from here on out. You get all the good ones.
Yes.
Ah.
I did not plan it this way because if I were, it'd be a Slytherin. This is just a Gryffindor coincidence of poor planning and just jumping into execution mode. The next candidate is Bernie Sanders, U.S. Senator, Vermont. Ooh, I feel like I'm doing this like a Miss Universe pageant.
Yeah, you're like, you said it so calmly, and like I was kind of trying like hard not to just laugh at you. I was giggling in the background.
Okay. He's defied all predictions by going from an unknown senator to a national progressive icon. His signature issues have become the lingua franca of liberals on this list.
Such a weird. Okay.
Such a weird way to read it.
No, just like it's weird, like what they wrote. Anyway.
Okay, so we all know Bernie's positions. He's super liberal. He's super likes,
I actually went to a Bernie rally back in 2015, I think. Right, but like when he was running against Trump. And that's like the only political rally I've ever been to, and it was the Sanders rally. Feel the burn.
You young thing.
Oh man, Bernie. God, I think he is a
Gryffindor.
Yeah, Gryffindor. Yeah.
He's definitely a Gryffindor. He's so extra.
Mm-hmm. And he like does not back down, and he is all like in your face about being right. Okay. Yep. Easy.
Side note, I got into trouble at work for not backing down.
Oh. So. Oh. Are you eating corn pops again?
I'm still eating corn pops, yes.
Yay, now I get to talk about another one that no one cares about. Yay. Okay. Tom.
Oh, another white dude.
Yep. Tom Steyer. Haven't heard of him? Not surprised. He is a hedge fund manager and a political activist. Totally qualifies him for president.
I'm sorry, did you say hedge fund?
Hedge fund manager.
Oh, okay.
He's a Goldman Sachs alum, great, and hedge fund manager who has found a new calling as a leading donor on the left, especially when it comes to climate activism. He also spent millions on a push to impeach Trump. I mean, nice thought, but like, you don't need to be president. Like, just keep on doing you and like, stop trying to run the country.
You do you, boo, Slytherin.
You're just like, Slytherin, done. Okay. Um,
I mean, does he have any like noteworthy ideals?
why is it all the rich people want to like say that unlimited spending should not be allowed in politics? I just don't understand. I don't know. None of them have been put into Hufflepuff yet.
Oh yeah, Buttigieg.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's just like, I want things to be just the way I want them to be, and the only person who can do it is me, and not anybody else who actually has experience or applicable, work experience or history. So I have to do it myself. So maybe Ravenclaw.
Him?
No,
Nah.
no, Slytherin.
At Goldman Sachs? Come on, man.
I don't know. My brain hurts.
That place is just Slytherin adjacent. Like, come on. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, we're not Slytherin bashing. I promise.
I mean, I am a Gryffindor, so they are my sworn enemies in the canon. So, but also J.K. Rowling is wrong about everything. So who knows? Anyway, now to Madame President Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator, Massachusetts. Not sure if anyone can tell that I'm a stan.
Are you?
I am a Warren stan. I am. That I am.
You don't sound very excited.
No, I did call her Madame President.
Oh, so. Okay, well. Could have been sarcasm.
No, excuse you. I am trying my NPR voice, and you're trying to, like, kill it. Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator, Massachusetts. She was an academic who helped write the book on how to rein in Wall Street, only to be blocked from her dream job, running the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, by Republicans. As a senator, her populist economic message has animated the Democratic base. What do we think about Miss Warren? I think she's a Ravenclaw because she has a plan for everything.
Yeah, no, I think Ravenclaw too. I think that her electability is low because she's very, very, very left. And like the moderates and people who voted for Trump in the first round but don't want to vote for him this time are really not going to agree with most of what she says. But I love her, and I do think I agree with a lot of her stances, and I think that she would be a great president. I just honestly don't think it's realistic.
Well, I think I hear you, but I also read this very persuasive article about how when we've had any kind of recent wins in Democratic fields, it's when candidates run as progressives, and when candidates run as moderates in the Democratic Party, they tend to lose. So that's a thought.
I don't know. I think that this election is special. I think that there are so many people out there who want Trump out, but are not ready to commit to someone fully on the left yet. And so I think a moderate is our best chance this time, unfortunately. And even though I don't agree with a bunch of moderate stances, I think that eventually, in the end, we're all going to have to stand behind one of them to get Trump out.
I mean, you know what, Helene, crush my day even further.
I know.
Anyway,
I know. Okay, so I don't even want to talk about this person, but whatever. I think that she is like so not worth anybody's time or thoughts. But
just, you know what? Read her name, read the bio, call her a muggle. Next.
Yes. Marianne Williamson, self-help author, is her listed profession.
Actually, that's the best one out of all of them.
That's her profession listed under here. She is a new age self-help specialist with a big following in Hollywood, where stars backed her losing independent run for Congress in 2014. Emphasis on losing. Now she's setting her sights on the White House and diagnosing American politics as disconnected from the heart.
Okay, bye, Trelawney.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm sorting her into Trelawney.
God bless you. Why are we the same person sometimes?
You get to talk about someone who's actually pretty interesting.
Okay, I look forward to your thoughts. Andrew Yang, entrepreneur. An entrepreneur who helped... Well, Jesus, someone call Politico about their typos.
Oh no, there's a typo.
Well, there's not necessarily a typo. It's supposed to be. Oh, so I'm going to read it as it is, and you tell me what's wrong with it.
Okay,
An
Mom.
entrepreneur who helped turn a small testing company into a multi-million-dollar venture. Guys, it's helped. Ed. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's pretty glaring.
He wants to prepare for the future of an automated America by making universal basic income a reality.
I think that he is very unique. Like a lot of these people, they're all the same. You know, like there's nothing that sets them apart. There are about 5 different things that set Andrew Yang apart. I think that he is just interesting, honestly.
I don't know. I'm just like, these people who are like super leaning into automation and like taking jobs away and like all this other stuff. I'm like,
I don't think he supports it. I think he's just like, we should probably like, prepare for it.
just let's go back to the printing press, Let's just start using, I don't know, let's start living in caves again. Let's stop all this technology. I'm being sarcastic. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, so I think that he is a Ravenclaw, and I think it's because he's one of those like eccentric, like Luna Lovegood, like Trelawney type Ravenclaws, where like he's smart, but he like expresses it in like such a different way. Like he's just one of those weird eccentric guys that is definitely like a Ravenclaw, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that one actually. Look at us agreeing.
Yes, and his slogan is math, make America think again.
Oh, like the most Ravenclaw of all the slogans.
Yep, so...
except for, I've got a plan for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they're both very Ravenclaw ones. Did you hear Joe's recent slogan change?
No, talk to me about this. It was
like, I don't remember exactly, but it was like, no malarkey or something like that. That was his slogan. He changed it to no malarkey or something. I think it's something with malarkey. And I'm like, you were really playing into the fact that people know that you're old and you like want to like bank on that success.
Yeah, like I just want to like talk to Uncle Joe and be like, this is why people hate us olds, like, come on.
Yeah. Well, we finally reached the end of the list and we've been talking for like an hour. So
I mean, it could have been an entire day. Let's continue.
This is true. I really want to get to the turf stuff. Like it's important.
All right, but let's first talk about impeachment because I wanted to be clear to our audience what impeachment actually means. I think a lot of people are a little confused, even though I feel like most of our listeners are super informed and I don't want to talk down to anyone. But like, I think of impeachment as, I read this great tweet today about like impeachment is like being canceled and being removed is like having your account deleted, which is amazing. Hello.
Oh yeah, sorry. Did you want me to say something to that? I was just listening to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, did I lose her?
No.
Anyway. And I also explained it to one of my friends last night as impeachment is almost like being like having the cops say that you did a crime, and like the removal is like being found guilty and the judge sentencing you to jail or whatever.
So what's the impeachment in that scenario then?
Well, like the impeachment is being like accused of a crime.
Oh, okay.
Like you've been found, like you're accused of a crime.
Impeachment is basically a formal, being formally accused. But it doesn't matter unless
the judge sends you to jail after the trial.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So impeachment, it's like important that Trump got impeached. Like it's definitely like
it's historic, right? Because he's one of the only, I think, president who has been impeached on his first term. And
that I didn't know.
Also, Let me double check before I'm stupid.
I mean, like, I know that he's only the third president ever to get impeached. Two of which are in our lifetime. Nixon didn't even get impeached, right? Because he resigned before he could get impeached, right?
Yes.
So yeah, both Clinton and
see, yes, I was right. He is the first president impeached.
I wasn't saying you were wrong. I just had to.
No. I was like, because you know how I do, like, I say these bullshit things, and I'm like, wait, did I just make it up, or did I really hear it or read it? Because as a Gryffindor, I go with my gut.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, I was. That was interesting to me because I hadn't heard that yet, which I feel like I should have heard that because that's interesting.
Well, so it's it's historic. It's a fact, of the times that we live in, and also it will, make it into the books as like one of the things that happened.
Yeah. And it's important. It's important that we like legally and officially acknowledge that he did something wrong, even if there are no consequences for it. Of course, I wish there were freaking consequences for it. But we know the Senate, we know Mitch McConnell, we know Republicans, and they're not gonna vote to convict.
Basically, in Hogwarts terms, it's like that time Snape tried to like tell Harry he was expelled, and then Dumbledore was like, no. So,
or it's like when it's like the time when Fudge tried to tell Harry he was expelled. For casting the Patronus charm on the Dementor, and then they were like, "Nope, just kidding. We can't prove that you did anything wrong." So,
and instead of casting like a Patronus, like Trump was like, "Hey,
do us a favor, though.
Give me all the dirt. Do me this favor." And Trump and Mitch McConnell as Dumbledore being like,
Stephen Colbert has like the perfect like jingle that sums up the whole like. Let me see if I can find it really quick because I could sing it for you, but I don't think you want me to.
I mean, I'm always down for your dulcet tones.
Impeachment jingle. There it is. I just gotta play this. It's so great. I don't want to actually play the whole thing. 1 second. Let me find it. Which one is... okay. Well, I can't find it, but it's like, all that you need to know is, he said, do us a favor, though, or something like that. And so it's just
that's like a Folger's jingle.
Exactly. It's like, all that you need to know is that Trump said, do us a favor, though. But and it's just like that just boils it down to the essentials of what you do need to know for why he is impeached. So good luck ever getting that out of your head, because that was stuck in my head for like 3 days after he played it on his show.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much.
I have a cat butt in my face. Will you leave my face alone, cat butt? Okay.
So speaking of like equivalencies that we don't usually make on the show from like politicians to Harry Potter characters, I feel like we can do that because this is not a normal episode of Accio Politics, and now we are like Accio Politics let loose by the events of today.
Yes.
So I'm going to do a real quick rundown of who I think, and then we can just talk about it a little bit and then move on to the topic we all came here for.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Donald Trump is definitely a Gilderoy Lockhart. He is known for having called tips on himself as his own publicist in New York to remain relevant because he loves the spotlight. And I could see like Gilderoy Lockhart like tweeting like the entire way through like any position in politics.
The only thing is that Trump is a bit more malicious than Lockhart, I think, but
I think Lockhart is plenty malicious. He erased people's memories of their deeds. He robbed them of their credit.
No, that's true. He didn't put kids in cages or separate them from their families, or say that Nazis were fine people, but.
I mean, but if he would have gotten him like the notoriety he was looking for, he would have done it.
That's true. I'm surprised that Lockhart is a Ravenclaw and now they're Slytherin, to be honest, but he's like all about that ambition,
Well, he's all about the shortcut too. Mm-hmm. All right, Steve Bannon as Lord Voldemort. Two people who kind of look like they're decaying and also are evil.
I was gonna say, Steve Bannon is just almost as ugly as Voldemort, both inside and out.
Almost. Yeah, both of them. Mitch McConnell as Peter Pettigrew because he's he's an opportunist.
That's what you're trying to say.
Listen, Linda. I am undercaffeinated. I've had a bad day, and I am all sugared up.
Yes. Opportunistic hack, basically.
Yes. Also a coward.
Oh, such a big coward. Oh, yes.
And anyone that is using the letter of the law to oppress people and suppress the vote is definitely Umbridge.
Yeah, so like
the worst kind of
people. A lot of people.
Because we are very riveted here in Accio Politics. Stephen Miller as Percy Weasley when he abandoned his family for power and fame and fortune at the Ministry, of all places.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who like Percy Weasley, which is surprising. I mean, the only reason I even have any minimal amount of respect for Percy Weasley is because of Chris Rankin and his explanation of his character. But there are the parts where Percy is bad, he's bad, and Stephen Miller is kind of reflective in that.
Well, and I don't mean like Percy Weasley, completely, obviously, but like the worst parts of Percy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Just doing, stepping on anyone that he possibly can to further his boss's ideals and spout things that make his party look good.
Yeah. And now for the discussion Helene has very patiently and not so patiently been waiting for.
I've tried to be patient.
Because you've been fuming about this all day, and so have I, but I had the distraction, which is a blessing and a curse, of a terrible day at work to not engage with this as much as I wanted to.
Oh, yeah, we're so slow at work that I, just had nothing but, time to really engage in conversation with a lot of different types of people about this topic today. And I learned something about myself, that this is the mountain, the hill that I am willing to die on.
And so is Rowling, but in a really bad way.
God, I hope this isn't the mountain that she's willing to die on. I hope that she comes to her senses. Oh, okay, so some backstory. Was it this morning? Yeah, it was this morning, right? Yeah, this morning at, according to my Twitter in Central Standard Time, 6:57 a.m. on December 19th, 2019. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, a series that promotes love and acceptance and kindness to all, tweeted something very, very awful. I'm going to read it for you. Dress however you please. Call yourself whatever you like. Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. Live your best life in peace and security. But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? Hashtag I stand with Maya. Hashtag this is not the drill. So I have to say, I'm not caught up, or I wasn't caught up before this morning on British politics, UK, current events, news. I had no idea what she was talking about. When I first saw this tweet, my initial reaction was like, oh, yay, she's tweeting. She's back. Oh, this doesn't seem like too horrible. Wait, what does that mean? Sex is real. What is she talking about? And I was like, who's Maya? And then I looked all of it up, and just the horrible, horrible dawning of what she's actually saying fell upon me. And then the entire world blew up.
Well, that's... I'm sorry, am I the dramatic one here?
This is just so horrible, and I mean, it's so disappointing and heartbreaking, and like worlds have been shattered today. People have like seen this person, like, okay, so this isn't even the first time that I've gone through something like this. I think it was like 2 years ago. It might have been last year. I can't remember. Joss Whedon was like exposed for being like a huge misogynist and womanizer, which goes against everything that his very, very highly feminist work said about him. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I've talked about it so many times on this podcast, and every podcast, because I'm so obsessed with it, is my all-time favorite show. It's highly feminist, it's highly empowering, it's so great in so many aspects. It was groundbreaking. I love it so much. And then this stuff comes out about Joss Whedon, and I'm sitting there questioning my entire morality, basically. I'm like, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this guy who created it is awful. According to all of these accounts. And so it's like, am I complicit in his awful actions by, you know, consuming his media? Is Buffy actually awful because he created it and he's awful? You know, just so many things. I was just going through all this in my mind, like, should I like it? Should I not? Is it bad to like it now? Should I like it? It was so awful. And then this happened today, and it's like the same thing, you know, someone that you highly, highly, truly admire, someone that created this world that has just changed so many lives and been so meaningful to so many people, is a transphobe. Like, what do you do with that information?
I mean, you cancel them, but...
Yeah, cancel culture is a very touchy subject. I do think that people have the ability to be redeemed, but I also think that there are things that are unforgivable unless the person tries really, really hard. You know, like, I think if she came out tomorrow and was like, and like completely took responsibility for her actions, fully apologized, acknowledged the people she hurt, and promised to never do it again, I would consider letting her back into my good graces. But fact is, it's probably not going to happen.
I'm going to tell you that it is not going to happen, because previous scandals have shown us that she is willing to just block people on social media for calling her out on her bullshit. So, like, someone like that, I don't think is open to having like an honest discussion about like her belief system, or, you know, how she views the world, because she thinks that her way is the only good way.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because she has been so important to me and so many other people.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this podcast.
Exactly. Like, you want to give her the benefit of the doubt because she's someone who created such an amazing world can't be all bad, right? But then at the same time, this is why it's so difficult. It sucks. And then she has so much influence and power that people are like, the message that she's sending is just going to spread more rapidly, and it's going to enforce people's bad, like, transphobic beliefs, and it's going to. I just realized we haven't even explained why it's transphobic.
Oh, yes. Let's do a quick rundown, please, on the situation with Maya Forstater.
Maya Forstater? I don't know. Maya.
I'm just doing Forstater or whatever. I don't know.
So Maya lost her job last year at a think tank in London and filed a lawsuit earlier this year alleging discrimination based on what she called her gender critical views. So what this means, so basically this lady, Maya, she believes that there are only two sexes, and that those who identify differently are wrong. And she publicly stated this, and then also posted a bunch of hateful rhetoric towards trans people in the trans community on Twitter and her social media accounts, and was subsequently fired. I think there was something about how her contract wasn't renewed, and therefore she was indirectly like let go, I guess. But people are saying she was fired basically for having these saying that trans people aren't real, they aren't valid. They're only saying there are only two sexes, male and female, and anybody who identifies differently is wrong. And so Maya believes this. She was fired for her job for believing this. It was like a very historical court case in London that ruled that she stated that this was it should be protected because it's her philosophical belief. So she believes that she shouldn't have been fired because her speech and her sentiment are protected by this philosophical belief that she has. And the judge was like, nope, this is wrong. The judge said that it was not protected, but was instead incompatible with human dignity and fundamental rights of others. So that's why they ruled against her and they fired her. And so in turn, J.K. Rowling saying that she stands with Maya and that she shouldn't have been fired for saying that sex is real, is her saying that there are only two sexes, two genders, and trans people that identify otherwise are basically in the wrong. And also, not only that, but she's standing behind someone who believes, who has these beliefs and has spread these beliefs, and by aligning herself with these people is basically saying that she believes them as well. So that is the gist.
Ugh.
So yeah, I mean, people immediately shot back at her and said that this is not okay. There are many, many trans people in the Harry Potter community alone telling her that these words make them feel like she doesn't respect them or their existence or their right to be who they are. And they feel alienated by someone who they really, really thought was there for them and supported them and loved them, because how can you write a story like Harry Potter and not be loving and accepting of people who are different than yourself?
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah. And I've been kind of debating with people all day online about this.
Yeah, tell me more about that. Tell us more about what has happened to you today.
I've encountered a lot of people who are defending J.K. Rowling for a number of reasons. One of them, I think, is that I feel like some people are going through kind of what I was going through with the whole Joss Whedon thing a couple of years ago, where like they are so connected to the work that they cannot discern, like they can't separate the work from the author, and they are like, well, you know, Harry Potter is amazing, so J.K. Rowling can do no wrong, and therefore, you know, you guys must be misunderstanding her. And people who are literally like, they literally just are not educated enough on the topic to know that like this is like there's just no coming back from this. But what actually is even more hard for me to see are the people who are defending her, saying that she's just expressing her opinion.
Well, I mean, a hateful belief is not an opinion.
Exactly.
It's just a terrible thing.
Exactly. And what I've noticed is that people who have no science or facts to back them up say that like it's their opinion. And that just means that it's like as if opinions can't be criticized. First of all, it's not an opinion. It's like baseline, not an opinion. To hate someone is not an opinion. An opinion doesn't affect other people. Like you can have an opinion on, what your favorite pizza toppings are or whether you prefer Coke versus Pepsi, but you can't have an opinion on whether or not a group of people has a right to exist. That's not an opinion. That's a statement that you're making about what you believe.
That's also a very hateful way to view the world for someone that, prides herself on being inclusive, question mark. She was never inclusive, guys, but still.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about that too, but at least like the morals of her stories were about, I mean, like as far as like things in the real world, like sexual orientation and all of that, she was not inclusive, but she like translated that into different things in her story. So like, a trans person could be, a werewolf or a half giant, things like there are things in the stories where she was promoting the message of being inclusive and accepting people and loving people for who they are, despite them being different. There are so many things that she,
Yeah, but her inclusivity stopped at like, um, having people of different races, quote unquote races, or different types of magical creatures be able to procreate with each other. Not like sex is just like gender is a construct, or saying like there's more than two genders, or
Well, yeah, no, she didn't. I mean, like in the end, these are children's books, so like I feel like she didn't include a lot of that type of thing in there, implicitly, or in the background, or through symbolism or anything like that.
Well, I mean, I've been not the presenter on these panels, but I've been an audience member at some panels talking about queerness in Harry Potter and how it's like. And people have different views on it, right? Because we read the texts as we read them and with our experiences in mind. But one of the arguments that resonate with me the most is the idea that, I mean, her books are pretty like cis oriented, and they talk about inclusivity and in a like in a way that maybe for her was radical and for us was radical maybe when the books were coming out, but it has not necessarily aged well in terms of representation of queerness and queer culture. And then she came out and said, it was like, oh yeah, of course Dumbledore is gay, and we're like, yeah, but where is it in the canon, girl? Other than he's like a little bit odd sometimes. Like I know a lot of odd cis straight dudes, but the idea, I think, what resonates with me the most is that despite all of that, you're allowed to bring, your queer reading into Harry Potter and, make it what you want it to be despite the author's intent, because there's this literary movement that kind of lets us do that in literature. I mean, I'm getting to like my high horse of literature, where the author's intent is not necessary in order to to examine a text for what it is.
Death of the author.
So if you want to do a queer reading of Harry Potter, then go ahead and do it. No one's stopping you. JK can't like be in your brain, so you do it. You do that.
And that's why I think that like I've had people asking me today, like, now that we know this about her, for like, and now that she's solidified that this is like her stance, are we going to stop consuming Potter? And are we going to, basically like drop all of it? Because it's connected to her and she has these views. And I've had people asking me that today. And I think that that sentiment it explains it really well, that like the series is more than just her now. it belongs to all of us. We have made it bigger than what it was originally intended to be, and it still holds all of these values and things that we have made out of it, that I don't think that there's a way for her to take that away from us. I think that it's larger than her at this point, and we can still enjoy the Potter series. We can still enjoy the text for what it is, and not have to completely just stop everything because the creator of that world just happens to not have the best views on everything.
And to me, I mean, I think this is hard for me also, because when we talk about should we not consume like anything that makes, that profits her anymore,
Mhm.
right? Like we've already got the books, we've already got the movies, right? Like I don't know if burning them or stopping the podcast or whatever is going to do anything to even, to make her any less rich than she is at this point in time. Or privileged, right? So, I mean, it's really hard for me, and I'm trying to find the right words to say, because obviously we've got more things coming on in the fandom that are spearheaded by her and her team, which is not just her, but it's like a group of people, and then it becomes, do we consume any new thing that she puts out despite the fact that she is problematic, and does that mean that we do not stand with our trans brothers and sisters?
I mean, speaking of specifically of the Fantastic Beasts series, Ezra Miller is a non-binary person. She, in her statements today, effectively like told him or them, sorry, he is non-binary, and he forgot they are non-binary and they prefer them/they pronouns. I need to get better at this. She essentially told them that they're not valid, that their existence is not real, because sex is real and there's only two genders, or whatever it is that she's spouting, and that directly affects Ezra Miller, who is the main character, one of the main characters in the Fantastic Beasts series. With filming almost about to start on the new movie, this directly affects them.
You know where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not. It's just like Ezra Miller is a fantastic actor. They are amazing, and this affects them, of course, because effectively one of the people who is kind of employing him, or one of his co-workers, if we want to talk about it that way, is effectively just outing herself as having these hateful ideas and beliefs. But there's still a power imbalance there. She still has more power than they do. They're just an actor, right? Like, and in the grand scheme of things, like usually studios will see them as
replaceable,
except if they're Johnny Depp and J.K. Rowling has.
Don't even. Okay.
I still had to like put it there.
Yeah, makes me mad.
This is not the only time.
Yep.
It's what I'm saying, friends. This is not the only time she has like just stabbed us in the heart.
Yeah, she has definitely been problematic on more than one occasion, but today literally just pushed me over the edge. I think that the most disappointing thing that's come from all of this is seeing how people react to being called out for these types of things is just so disheartening. Like, I want to say that I need to point out that calling out intolerance and prejudice and hateful rhetoric and things like that, it's not hateful in itself to call that stuff out.
No, I think that when you are calling out injustice and intolerance, you are standing up for everyone else.
Exactly. So it's not like the thing is like today I've noticed many people when you call that stuff out, they immediately go on the defensive. They immediately say that they're just stating their opinion, and they immediately call you out for being hateful. And like they're like you calling J.K. Rowling hateful is hateful, and it's like no, you need to so you need to be like you need to understand that calling out these things and saying that they're not okay is speaking truth to power, and it's advocating for people. It's not being hateful to point out that some people's actions are wrong. It's necessary to do that. It's calling out intolerant behavior doesn't mean that you hate the person. If anything, it means you care about them because you want them to do better.
I mean, let's be real. Let's say we're in a department store and I'm looking at scarves and I'm like, oh, hey, that scarf is a very interesting shade of purple. One might say violently purple. That is the truth. So why is calling the truth out anything bad at this point?
No, yeah, I agree. I think like advocating for people and just calling out blatantly wrong behavior is not an attack on anybody. And if you feel attacked by someone merely just stating that trans people exist and are valid and have the right to be who they are and should not be told otherwise, then like I think that honestly, if you feel attacked by that, then you're probably the one that needs to kind of look inward and figure out why you feel attacked by that, because it's not an attack. And jumping on the defensive doesn't help anybody. Like you just like it's just been I've just had to deal with so many people today saying that they're feeling attacked by me telling them that what they're saying is hurting people and they need to stop. And it's just I've seen people say like I love and I respect you. I just don't believe in the way that you live your life. And it's like, that's not like you don't love and respect someone that you don't like, that you are, and then at the same time say that the way that they live their life is not valid.
I think what this shows us is that, you know, transphobia and other types of hateful ideals are, you know, still out in the open. And that even people we have deemed progressive at one point can still have hateful rhetoric in them. And it's really disappointing. I mean, I and this has like nothing to do with J.K. Rowling, but I'm trying to illuminate a larger point. I went to school for English, as many of you know, and English departments are full of progressive, liberal, left-leaning, hippie granola eating, vegan salad eating professors. I am not vegan because I could not subsist on anything that is not processed.
Jeez.
So, yes. Also Pop-Tarts. Anyway. And I thought, because, I mean, I went to school in Puerto Rico for my bachelor's and I did my master's in New Mexico State University. And my bachelor's was pretty kind of a great bubble in which case, like, most of my classmates were Puerto Rican. Most of my professors weren't, but they had lived in the island for so long that they didn't have like all these prejudices anymore. And if they did, they didn't like share them a lot against Puerto Rican students, I mean. And I went to an MSU thinking like, obviously I'm going to Mexico. It has a large Latino population. And I'm going to a very liberal department. So I feel like I'm going to have a really great experience. And I remember the first time one of my professors who I really looked up to said something very much racially insensitive to me. And like that was the moment my bubble burst in terms of progressive people. Obviously, it burst too late in life. I was, 23. But I realized that just because someone has, touts these progressive ideals doesn't mean that they don't have any hateful or misguided beliefs. And that's a really tough lesson to learn, especially from someone that you really admire. And I felt kind of the same way all over again, obviously, with J.K. Rowling when she defended Johnny Depp and like with this and with other problematic things that she said. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a daily, like an interaction in your personal life that has shown you something like that. But I think, I mean, I can think of so many times after that I've had very similar interactions with people I really admire or admired and love or, loved who said they loved me or they respected me and then turned around and said something that was, not appropriate or kind of hateful about my people or where I come from or what they thought I should be doing or looking like or, I just, didn't think that you could master this because your first language is Spanish, that kind of thing,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I have this is kind of not exactly this. I mean, first of all, I've experienced a lot of anti-Semitism just in my entire life. I won't say that I've experienced it from people who I actually like knew and admired. It's mainly been people who, I didn't know or, I knew they were bad people already kind of thing. But I am like being Jewish alone has always been kind of like a thing that has kind of garnered a lot of negative experiences in my life. I mean, it's a large source of joy, and I love it, and it's great. But it has been probably the hardest thing for me to deal with as far as like discrimination and things like that. And I've recently come into a friend group that is very, very largely Christian, fundamentalist Christian to be like more specific. And I love them. They're wonderful people, and they're great friends, and I thoroughly enjoy spending time with them. But I have noticed that, like, especially when it comes to romantic relationships and dating, they are all very, very close-minded. I've been told by more than one person that they wouldn't date me specifically because of my religion.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is my knee-jerk reaction is to say Jesus Christ to everything, and it's not religious.
No, I mean, like, I say it too. So I totally get it. I totally get it.
Oh my God. I love this so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you say it too.
Yep, I say it all the time. So it's like people that you love and admire and respect. Like, I didn't realize that, like, because I knew them and I've always like seen them as these really loving and accepting people who never they never tried to convert me. They're always they love spending time with me. They never like don't hang out with me or not invite me to things specifically because I'm a different religion than them. They all have this one thing in common, but I never felt like an outsider because of it until it started to come up where I found out that there are multiple people that aspire to this belief that they will not date or marry outside of their religion. And that was like, whoa, like that's really close-minded of you. And I wasn't expecting that because I had this different ideal about them and this different picture of them in my head that I thought, oh, they're so nice and accepting and open. They would never not, date someone or marry someone just because they don't share this one thing with them.
Imagine being like so close-minded that you're like missing out on a great relationship because you're like, but they don't they don't go to the same thing I do. Like they don't like the same team I do.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly disheartening. Um, and like I said, even just not someone that I know personally, that the whole thing with Joss Whedon earlier, a couple of years ago, he's someone that I very, very highly admired, and so is J.K. Rowling. People that I very much admire and like looked up to, and was like, wow, these people must be great people to come up with such like amazing and inclusive content that makes me and so many other people feel so good about themselves. Um, and unfortunately, your fave is problematic. Like, it's just true, and it happens. Like with like people weren't expecting Matt Lauer to be such an asshole, and he was. He turned out to be. Like, there's so many people who you think are going to be good people, and they disappoint you. And unfortunately, you have to decide for yourself when you stop making excuses for them and stop standing up for them and start realizing that these people are not perfect. They're not who you thought they were, and they need to be held accountable.
And I think like there's not a bad like there's nothing like you said there's nothing bad in holding people accountable or calling them out, especially if they're a public figure who can mobilize so many people with just one of her tweets.
Yeah. That tweet is going to do so much more harm. Yeah.
Than good.
And it's like there are people out there who are murdered because they're transgender. There are people out there who and the people that already believe that being transgender is wrong or bad in any form, like those people are just being backed up. Their beliefs are being enforced by this, and it's just going to make them more hateful, more angry, more violent, and it's just going to make things worse for the trans community. And people with privilege who don't have to think about that or worry about that because it doesn't affect their lives are going to pass it off as, oh, she just said something and it doesn't mean anything and just let her be. But that's not true. Her words have consequences. Her words have consequences, real life consequences that will hurt a lot of people.
Well, just like she talks a lot about Donald Trump being like the worst, right? But like just like Donald Trump, she's mobilizing people and giving a platform for hate through her tweet.
Yep. It's awful.
It's what I'm telling you. This is why you are annoyed by the people who are most like you.
I mean, that's mainly what I have to say on the subject. It's awful, and I wish I could change it. And people out there who think that opinions are not that things that are not opinions are opinions, or think that just because you think it's an opinion means that it can't be criticized. Like, grow up, please. Your words affect other people. Just keep that in mind. Don't be assholes.
And I'm going to leave this in with a tweet that I found by @HunkTears. It's been retweeted 1,000 times. J.K. Rowling wrote some long-ass books about a jock who becomes a cop. It was you, the fans, who did all the cool stuff, like making him travel in time to fuck the guy who killed his parents when he was still hot, thereby preventing the killing of his parents and also his becoming a cop.
What?
This is, well, it's a fanfic.
Okay.
That apparently.
Okay. I was like, what? That's not the plot of Cursed Child.
No, it's fans. It was you, the fans, who did all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
I'm a proponent of headcanon, however you want to do it. As we said in our tweet, not a proponent of headcanon when it comes to J.K. Rowling and giving her a pass for any reason.
Hold people accountable.
Yeah, especially the rich and powerful people.
Speak
Come
truth
on,
to
guys.
power. J.K.
Like,
Rowling.
have you noticed how comedians stop being really funny once they have like a lot of riches and power? It's because they become less relatable to the rest of us.
Except for Ellen.
Ellen's special was disgustingly bad, but okay.
I liked her special.
Okay. Well, you and I need to talk off mic. This is another podcast episode.
Okay.
But do we want to leave it on a hopeful note? Or do we just want to end it?
Okay, so let's, how can I end this on a hopeful note?
I don't know. Let's talk about something good that we're looking forward to in 2020 or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'm looking forward in 2020 to voting Trump out of office.
Same.
I'm looking forward to our first female president, whoever that may be, whether it's Klobuchar or Warren, not Marianne Williamson. And I'm looking forward to people advocating for others and standing up to hate and being the best people that they can be, because that's what we need. We need people like that to get us through these times.
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to, again, speaking truth to power, supporting more people in bad situations or vulnerable situations as we can, and honestly, discovering more queer authors or authors of color. Like, I'm really excited for a 2020 reading list.
Hell yeah, that's a good goal.
Like, so usually I have this rule for myself, because I'm a snob, that I will not like read many male writers. I only read female writers, which is fairly easy in the things I like to read, which is derisively called chick lit, which is women's fiction, by the way, or as we like to call it, fiction, period. God. Like men talking about, I don't know, whatever they care about is more important than women.
Mm-hmm.
Idiots. Anyway, like The Great Gatsby was so great. Anyhow, what was I saying? Oh, female authors. Now I want to diversify that in terms of, queerness and also race. So I'm looking forward to like embarking on that project.
Hell yeah, I support you.
What else am I looking forward to? Well, obviously continuing the podcast now that we are on a really good schedule. And I will not be missing many weeks. That's a promise.
Are you gonna start advocating for yourself in your workplace, Missy?
Yes. Question mark. We need to talk after this. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's it. I am looking forward to spending time snuggling my babies and redecorating my house, because it looks like it. Everything was bare after we bought the house, and I hadn't, claimed ownership of the place.
I'm looking forward to spending Christmas with my sister. Two Jews who do not celebrate Christmas, spending Christmas together. And yes.
I love it. Yes. I stand.
And I'm just excited to spend some time with her, and I'm just really ready to be with family and forget about work and forget about the crap that J.K. Rowling does that pisses me off.
Well, I will be in my home with the puppies and my husband and learning to craft and do 10,000 things, because I'm overambitious when it comes to crafting projects. I think we're good. All right. Well, this has been a special episode of... I'm sorry, I burped in the middle of that. This has been a special episode of Accio Politics Screaming into the Void by Helene and Adri. We might have to like continue these episodes as we move on.
Come back and stream Into the Void with us later.
Oh God.
And you can pay as little as $1 a month to stream Into the Void with us a day before the podcast is released.
On patreon.com/Accio
Exactly.
Politics. God. We're the worst and we're done.